Hi, so in this video we will read about spinal muscular atrophy. But before that, let's read what it affects. It affects the anterior horn cells. So let's read about it a little bit. Disorders affecting the anterior horn cells. Spinal muscular atrophy is the most common genetic disorder affecting the anterior horn cells in children. Among the acquired cause, so spinal muscular atrophy was a genetic cause, and among the acquired cause, it can be infection by the non-polio enteroviruses like the Coxsackie virus and the ecovirus. Fine, and beside these, juvenile forms of the amyotrophic lateral sclerosis and neurometabolic disorders like the Tay-Sachs disease and the Pompe's disease may also involve the anterior horn cells. So in this small paragraph, we came to know about 3 to 4 diseases that might affect the anterior horn cells. Spinal muscular atrophy, the most common genetic disorder. Infections are the acquired causes, which is also common by Coxsackie virus and ecovirus. Then juvenile ALS and Tay-Sachs and Pompe's disease. Fine. Moving ahead with the spinal muscular atrophy. It is an autosomal recessive disease caused by the mutation in the survival motor neuron gene, that is SMN gene, at the chromosome number 5q13. This region also carries the SMN2 gene, the copy number of which acts as the main modifier of the variation's clinical phenotypes. Both the genes code the SMN protein of the anterior horn cells. In healthy individual, the SMN1 is responsible for the functional SMN protein, while the SMN2 produces 10 to 20% of the full length SMN protein and 80% of the non functional protein that lacks the exon 7. So this was what happens in a healthy individual. In healthy individual, this SMN1, it is responsible for the functional SMN protein, while SMN2 produces 10 to 20% of the full length SMN protein and 80% of a non-functional product that lacks the exon. That lacks what? That lacks the exon 7. But in patients with SMA, spinal muscular atrophy, this is what we need to do. We need to remember that SMN1 is lost due to the pathogenic variation or deletion. Fine, this SMN1 is lost, and SMN2 remains, and the small amount of the full length protein is sufficient for survival. We saw, right, it was 20%, it was producing 10 to 20% full length SMN. So SMN2 remains, and this small amount is of full length SMN protein is sufficient for the survival. The number of the SMN2 copies correlates with the disease severity, right? Right. Because it is 10 to 20%, there is a range. So the number of this SMN2 copies correlates with the disease severity, with a lower copy number being linked to more severe types of SMA. Right. We understood this, right? Lower copy numbers, more severe type of SMA. Following clinical types are recognized depending on the age of the onset and the course of illness. We will read that table. Type 1 is a severe form which presents early with profound hypotonia, flaccid weakness, and the global areflexia. Fine, this is important. That how will SMN1 present? SMN1 is a severe form, first of all, which presents early with what? With profound hypotonia, flaccid weakness, and global areflexia. Respiratory weakness and the poor swallowing are common in this form. What is also seen? Respiratory weakness and poor swallowing, which is less prominent in the type 2 and absent in the type 3. So these symptoms, respiratory weakness and poor swallowing, is less prominent in type 2 and absent in the type 3 and 4. Tongue fasciculations are found in the younger children, while mini myoclonus, irregular small amplitude jerky movements of the hand and fingers of an outstretched hand, is found in the older children. Tongue fasciculations are seen in what? Tongue fasciculations are found in the younger children, and while these polymini myoclonus found in older children. Okay, and these tongue fasciculations in young children. Moving ahead, aspiration pneumonia is an important cause of the morbidity and mortality. So in these children, what is an important cause of aspiration pneumonia? Cause of morbidity and mortality. Children with the SMA type 2 may develop kyphoscoliosis. Okay. Children with what? SMA type 2 may develop kyphoscoliosis. Patients with the type 3 diseases are often misdiagnosed as a limb girdle muscular dystrophy. A functional classification has recently been introduced. Treatment is supportive. What is the treatment? The treatment is supportive and includes the respiratory care, management of the problems in feeding and swallowing, and ensuring nutrition. Treatment for the gastroesophageal reflux, orthopedic care, and rehabilitation, appropriate immunization in the family education and counseling, newer based gene therapies are listed in this table. These medications are promising but expensive. Supportive multidisciplinary care is the standard of therapy. Fine, we have to give uh, care in a lot of domains in this disease. Let's read about these tables now. This is the classification of the SMA. So we read, right, there were four types: 0, 1, 2, and 3 and 4. Total 5 types. So first one, 0, 1, has a age of onset is what? Prenatal age of onset, and there are no motor milestones achieved, and lifespan is just less than 6 months, few weeks. In type 1, which is the Werdig Hoffman disease, less than 6 months is the age of onset. Head held unaided in less than 2 years. Dubowitz disease, less than 18 months is the age of onset, sits independently and cannot stand 2 to 3rd decade. Sits independently but cannot stand 2 to 3rd decade. Fine. Dubowitz disease. Kugelberg Belander disease, more than 18 months, stand and walk independently, and normal life expectancy. Type 3-1. And this type 4 has adult or adolescent onset, and ambulatory may complain of muscle pain and fatigue, normal life expectancy. This is the change which is happening due to minor change of the C to T base change in the axon 7 of the SMN2. Final product of SMN2 is mostly functional. So in healthy individuals, 7-1 produces the mRNA which is 100% functional, but in SMN1 this happens. In SMN2 what happens? The mRNA which is produced has 10 to 20% functional protein only. In this image, what can be seen? A 5-month-old boy with a motor delay and repeated chest infection shows generalized hypotonia, absent deep tendon reflexes, poor muscle power, and tongue fasciculations. Note the frog like posture and subcostal retractions due to the respiratory muscle weakness, and a diagnosis of SMA type 1 was made. Fine. So, what is important here to remember that there is generalized hypotonia, there is motor delay, and repeated chest infection. Also, there is absent deep tendon reflexes and poor muscle power, and tongue fasciculations are seen. Note the frog-like posture also. Fine, because hypotonia, generalized hypotonia, the posture is usually frog-like posture. This is the functional classification of the SMA type 2. Functional classification: non-sitters will be classified in the SMA type 1, sitters in the SMA 2, or those who have SMA 3 who have ambulation, and walkers ambulatory SMA 3 and SMA 4. This is the functional classification. Fine. Those who can sit will be classified in 2 or 3, who cannot sit in SMA 1, and those who can walk are classified in the SMA 3 and 4. These are the new FDA approved therapies for the SMA. First one is the Zolgensma, which has an intravenous route and it is a gene enhancing therapy. Second one is the Nusinersen, which is intrathecal antisense oligonucleotide directed to SMN2. Third one is the Risdiplam, oral mRNA splicing modifier of the SMN2. Yeah, so we were reading about these medications are promising but expensive. Supportive multidisciplinary care is the standard of therapy for SMA, and genetic counseling should be offered to families with an affected child. So, this was all about SMA. Thank you.